Hey, everybody. Welcome to Liberty Lipstick and Lead, your go-to podcast for all things freedom, firearms, and fabulosity. I am your host, Ursula Ann, and I'm thrilled to have you tuning in today for the very first episode with my special guest, Ursula Williams. Today, we're here to dish out the real talk. We'll be chatting about some things they don't always cover in those fancy gun magazines. But before we dive into the fun, don't forget to follow, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel. Tap that bell so you always get notified of future episodes. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming. Whether you're a seasoned shooter or just dipping your toes into the firearms world, this podcast is going to be your go-to gal pal. I want to be here to help you navigate, learn, and maybe even laugh a little bit along the way. So kick back, relax, and let's have some fun because let's be real, feeling safe, looking fabulous, and being proficient AF, that's the ultimate goal, am I right?
If not, I'm gonna take you down to redo this too. So if you want,
Oh, it's all good. Turn myself down, but I think we're cool. No worries. All right. So, thank you so much, first of all, for being here. I'm really excited. This is my very first time shooting a podcast, my first podcast episode with anyone, my first time meeting you, and I really like you. So I'm super stoked.
so likewise.
All right. Well, I'm all things curious. So, how did you get into shooting? Like you were actually the first Black female shooter that I found on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So, how did that happen?
Oh, how did it happen? So I've been in law enforcement for a long time. I'm rolling up on 19 years.
Whoa.
However, my job did not teach me how to shoot. I'm just going to throw that out there because everybody's like, oh, you're a cop or you work wherever.
Wow.
But you know how to shoot. I'm like, nah, they do not teach you how to shoot. They basically teach you how to pass a qualification. So I get a lot of people sending me a lot of like what we call OISs, acronym for Officer Involved Shootings, and they're like, hey, what do you think? I'm like, I wasn't there, so but I could do a Monday morning quarterback, but I don't know all the facts, but pretty much about I would say 2010. I was just like, I need to become a little bit more proficient on my duty gun because it was literally the only gun that I had, and so I just started doing ladies' night at the range, and then that happened about a couple years later. A guy I was dating was like, "Hey, let's go to this local carbine match," and I'm like,
Nice.
"All right, I don't know what to expect, So it was like a USPSA match, which was like more pistol match, but with ARs. And at that time, just I built my first AR, and I was like, "Cool, let's go." So we went, watched, and I'm like, "Yo, do y'all have this for pistol? At this range?" And they're like, "Yeah, Thursday nights." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So like the following Thursday night, I showed up in my duty gear with my duty pistol, and
Awesome.
this little still match, and then just fell through this rabbit hole. So
Wow.
2014, I started doing like local Glock matches at another indoor range. So me being like one or two chicks there, it was just basically always getting like a little high board, whatever. So from that, I was still shooting at that other range because like this is Arizona, so like there's literally a match every day of the week except for Mondays. Like you can literally shoot at any range.
That's
like
cool.
There's a competition going. So I thought it was pretty cool. So I went back to the other match, and one of the guys at that match who was actually running it. And at the time, I had no concept of what a pro shooter was. Like, I had no idea. I was like, I didn't even know it was a thing. But he was like, hey, you need to do 3-gun. And I'm like, so, Mike, you being a poor government employee, the first thing that came out of my mind was I was like, look, I don't need to do anything but stay black and die. So, So he's like, no, you'll be good at it. And I'm like, bro, I am poor. I barely got one gun. I got to get 2 more guns.
Right.
Technically, one more. I didn't have a shotgun. So he's like, you'll be okay. He's like, I promise you'll be okay. So I hum and hawed for a couple months, and then I was like, yo, this dude barely knows me, barely knows my last name. That sees something in me. Maybe I should kind of venture down that rabbit hole. And I reached out to him after finding a match in New Mexico. Like it was an all-women's match. It was a girl in the guns, 3-gun university, and the way it's a match. It's a full-blown match, but just at a slower pace.
Oh, nice.
So I called him up. I was like, hey, look, I want to shoot this match in New Mexico. And he's all like, why New Mexico? And I'm like, I don't know anybody in New Mexico. So if I mess up, I'm out. Nobody knows I was there. It is all good, you know?
There's no evidence.
No insurance. Like, I'll do it. So he actually loaned me his Benelli M2,
Cool.
which is super fancy shotgun, already tricked out, ready for 3-gun. I had
Nice.
my AR that I built, which was like an A2 setup. Definitely not the best for competition, but it was all I had. And I had my duty gun at the time, which was a Glock 22, so I'm shooting 40 cal.
Okay.
So drove out to New Mexico, shot this match. I ended up taking second in my division, very first
Yeah.
competition, and
Nice.
like I was hooked. I was hooked. So from that range all the way home, that was like a 9-hour drive. Actually, kind of more like 10 because I'm like a touristy. Like I always stop at
Yeah.
little random spots. Like, oh, let me just see.
Guilty.
Maybe I want to buy moccasins, you know, or whatever. So, knowing damn well I'm not gonna wear them. But I was on the phone with him the whole time, and I was also on the internet, like just on my phone, just looking up the next competition, like where
That's
else can
awesome.
I was completely hooked, and I still have that trophy. Actually, have all my trophies, but that particular trophy is my favorite because that was
Oh
like
yeah.
I got out my comfort zone, I did something, and this is a good. This was good. So
That's okay. That's awesome. And like, wow. I mean, you covered like several things I was already going to ask you. Like, how'd you get in, dude? That's amazing. And like for me, it's like seriously inspiring. I've always wanted to do some kind of cool competition with it, but I was like, oh no, that's not really like
so
black
okay,
people don't
so
do that. But apparently,
because
apparently we do.
we weren't exposed to it. So I grew up in the ghetto of Detroit. So like the only people who had guns while I was growing up were literally gangbangers and cops. That was it. So the culture was off. And then when I moved to Arizona, people, I mean, obviously got friends of all different backgrounds. They're like, "Oh, I killed my first deer at 6." I'm like, "Man, holy crap! Like I had no idea that was even a thing." You
Yeah.
know. So even like a lot of the outdoor stuff outside of shooting, like camping, hiking, all this stuff was, I finally got exposed to it because that was just stuff that white people did. So, like, yeah. So, but this is absolutely
Hey,
true.
we're
So,
just being honest here.
like, I was like, hey, it's your first podcast. Like, look, let me just go ahead and put
We're
everything out
gonna
there.
air everything out. Yeah, we're nothing, no holds barred.
So, here, and I like actually started to like enthrall this whole full blown American idea. Like, I could do all this stuff.
Yes.
Whereas, my culture, growing up, a lot of this stuff, it was so divided. Like, plus the exposure there. The only time I seen like, snowboarding was like X Games maybe, or the Olympics on TV.
Yeah,
You know,
and a very
and
small snippet too, just like itty
yeah,
bitty. Mm-hmm.
a little bit, yeah. But I could tell you during the Summer Olympics who all playing basketball, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that's the thing. I was like, and now looking back on it, I was like, man, this is predictive programming. Government's up to no good. But that's a whole nother
I was gonna
like.
say you come back for another episode on that one. Let me tell you.
Like, if you seriously want to do like an afterthought government conspiracy tinfoil hat, like let's go episode, I'm totally down for
Yep,
it too.
yep. You're coming. Don't worry, you coming back. I already know. I was like, just this little bit is just that. Okay, so so 3-gun. That's
Yes.
awesome. I mean, wow. So
Mm-hmm.
you shoot pistol, shotgun, and what's the other one? Is do you had your
Rifle.
AR rifle?
Rifle. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about what the differences are there and how you would like maybe train differently for something like that. I'm super curious.
So basically, you're learning. Most people start off. Everybody normally has a pistol, so everybody gets pretty proficient on pistol. Then, like the progression happens. Then you get an AR, so you
Yeah.
start learning AR and stuff like
Okay.
that. So now we're at one, and then shotgun is like honestly probably one of the hardest things to learn, only because of like it is totally different from the shotgun from if you're doing like trap and skeet, where you
Mm-hmm.
can only have two rounds. Like this is like a full shotgun where depending on your division, you can shoot what we call two magazines, tube guns. So now I'm looking at how to load fast.
Yeah.
Uh, Now I'm starting to play with my chokes and things like that, different patterns, different ammo, different capacities too. So like, and that's just another modification. So like in the 3-gun division that I compete in. See, my house phone is ringing weird.
You have a
The
house phone?
house phone. So, like, I don't know if you can see it. It's right there. Like my buddy saw it on Instagram. He's like, "Why you got a house phone? Why you got a landline?" He's like, "Are you about to phone into the Matrix? Like, why do you have
Hey,
one?"
you
I'm
never
like, I'm
know when you're going to need a landline.
like, so weird, but yeah, you never know. I mean, cell phones may go down. I still got a landline. Something
I'm
might.
right there
I
with
don't know.
you.
Or I just have it. But so shotgun is a little bit different to learn because of it requires a little different manipulation that a lot of people aren't used to. So
Mm-hmm.
that takes some time. However, because of that fact, shotgun makes or break a three gunner.
Mm-hmm.
So like you could be strong at pistol, but if you're not strong in the other two, you know, you're not going to be more competitive against other competitors. But shotgun, like I think because of so much work I put behind it, I'm like I love this thing. Like
No,
it's not,
it's
a lot of people think, oh, you just point and shoot. No, there's
uh-uh.
actually aiming to be competitive on shotgun. And so because it was that challenge behind it, I was like, I absolutely fell in love with shotguns.
I
So
Shotgun
and
is probably one of my favorite. I don't do well with when I say the higher gauges, the bigger gauges, right? Like a 12 gauge is kind of hard for me, but I can, kick it with my 410 like it's nothing.
right,
Obviously, a little bit less kick there.
hmm
But yeah, I can only imagine. And then I find them a little bit heavy for me too, which is weird because I'm kind of a big girl, but it takes some arm strength, which, training was another thing that I was going to ask you about is how did you keep up with
so
that?
a lot of people overthink shotgun. So they think, oh, it's just arm strength. I'm like, no, it's actually more core, booty, legs. So like, and everybody's like, oh no, you hold it. I'm like, yeah, but guess what else your arms are attached to? Your torso,
The rest of your body.
the rest of your body. So let's work more with your body instead of against it. So like, if I know I'm going like what we call hard and fast on shotgun, I actually widen my stance and I actually like sink down a little bit. So lower my center of gravity, and I get behind the gun. Like it is actually shouldered properly. My face is on it. When I say face on that, cheek it properly,
Mm-hmm.
and then just go. And you're holding on to it. So uh, and I run a 12 gauge that's the caliber of three gun, and it's fine. And also the shotgun I run. So my buddy who loaned me his M2. So since I learned on that gun, not gonna lie, I was working at I was basically I have more jobs than Jamaican. So I had a little side job at a gun store, and we got Benelli's 40% off. I was like, oh
Oh,
my god, I have to do this. So his I was like, I need to do this. So his shotgun, he had a Woodland Camel one, like straight from the factory. And so I was like, I want this exact same shotgun. So I called up Benelli, once I submitted my order. And I was like, hey, how much is it for Woodland Camel? They're like, oh, that's $100 extra. I'm like, I don't need Woodland.
I don't need
I am
that.
poor. I am still poor. I'll take black. It's okay. So,
Oh my god.
I ran that shotgun. I one of few people to actually like shot out the receiver of a Benelli M2. So I actually had to replace my receiver
Wow.
uh, 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. Replaced it with a Roth Performance. That particular company, they specialize in shotguns. Like that's all they do. And they
Cool.
came out with a receiver, so it was a 1-for-1 match. So they basically had to take my barrel, my tube, my internals, my stock, and put it on that receiver, and it's awesome. And
Nice.
the M2s, they're actually one of the lightest tube shotguns on the market. So
Okay.
that is definitely one to run. And you actually, a lot of people have seen like John Wick. So John Wick was actually running the M4, and then like
We
the
all love
newer,
John Wick. Come on.
actually, everybody loved John Wick. And
Yep.
I started a little John Wick gun collection because I was like, well, I want to have all the guns that John Wick had. So, but he was actually running a M4, which is a tactical version of the M2. So it's inertia driven, it's a lot lighter, it recoils very nice. Like that is a really good gun to run. And when a lot of people come off like, hey, I don't really like 12 gauge, I'm like, let me guess, your very first 12 gauge shotgun was like probably an over under, something that's 26-inch barrel, something that's like just unholy freaking heavy,
I was
you
just
know.
gonna say ungodly crazy heavy, like what in the world you can barely pick it up.
It
Yeah.
was probably from 1820. So like a lot of people a lot of people's first shotgun experience was not the greatest, and then on top of that, the education behind it, because they got told
Yes.
something dumb like, "Oh, you just point and shoot it." Yeah, now you're gonna not have a good time with it. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of especially women get kind of turned off on guns, on in general,
Exactly.
because of that. It's usually, I call it the drunk uncle syndrome, where they're out camping one day, drunk uncle's like, "Hey, I got this 44 Magnum revolver. Let's shoot it at this tree." And
Yeah.
next thing you know, the tree calls crazy, and now they're afraid of guns. So it's it's a struggle whenever I have newer can't talk right now,
It's all good.
new students, that I have to break that mental
Mm-hmm.
obstacle. But shotgun is actually super easy to shoot once you get down to fundamentals of it.
I love
So
it. Yeah, definitely. I feel like that is almost like a stigma around that. Excuse me. What do you? How would you break someone of that? Like I started out with, I believe, a 45, and I was like, that might be a little too much for me in the beginning. I went down to a 9, I went down to a 22, and I was like, well, before I went to the 22, I would flinch whenever my AR would go off. I think it's 223. And
mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm getting a good shot off. I was like, but I still have this little flinch every time. And so my husband was actually like, why don't you try 22 real quick and just feel it? And it was like plink. I was like shooting a BB gun. I was like, oh, that's great. And that kind of made the switch for me to where it doesn't bother me anymore. I don't know why that is, but what's your experience?
So I think that girls overthink everything, every single thing,
Well,
and
yeah, we're girls.
I know. And like,
That's why we're so smart.
I'm not gonna lie. If girls designed guns, they would be some of the worst guns on the market with way too much extra stuff on it. I'm just throwing it out there. So I'm gonna use this with you because I do this with my students. Like, how simple is your husband?
This is being recorded.
I know. So I'm pretty sure he's pretty simple.
Pretty easy, same stuff, same pair of shoes in 17 million different colors. Like,
You know why? Because it works.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
it
That's what he
works.
says. He's like, because it works. I was like, well, I have that too, but I had to go through 17 million other things to find the one thing that works. Now that I got it,
Right.
we're good. But it took me.
And this is why, if women had, oh my god, when we had like the first war, if women designed guns, we would have lost, like, because it would take it so long to get a gun into production. So like, dudes are simple. So pretty much like, if you look at a pistol, you know why the slide is called a slide?
Because it slides.
Exactly. Why the grip is
We don't
called the
need
grip.
any fancy word for that. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Why the grip's called a grip?
Yep.
Yeah. Why is the trigger guard called the trigger guard? Because it guards the trigger. So
I
front
like the
sight,
simplicity
rear
of
sight,
this.
right?
Yes.
So men design guns which are simple. So when I get some girl that's like, I keep flinching, I'm like, this gun is supposed to go off every time you press the trigger, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's simple.
Because if it didn't, that would be a
So
problem.
that would be is when it doesn't go off when it's supposed to go off. Now I got to troubleshoot this thing, and now I actually use a little bit more brain power here. So this super simple machine just need to be ran simply. Like, you don't have to overthink the basic things. I was like, how many arguments you started with your dude when you overthought something? Exactly. So stop. Like, they're like, oh, that actually makes sense. And I was like, and check this out though. This is how simple it get. You see that front sight? Now, if you keep that front sight in the middle of that rear sight and you press that trigger without that sight moving, that shot is going to go where you want it to go. And they're like, light bulbs going off. It's like, it's just the most simplest of things. Why are people overthinking it? So like, same thing with the flinch. I'm like, why are you flinching? You know it's supposed to go off. How about this? So we'll dry fire. And I'm like, okay, on this next round, we're actually going to load one round. So people get actually accustomed to loading magazines.
Mhm.
We're going to load one round. And we already know subconsciously it's going to go off because it's supposed to. All right. Now we're making a conscious decision. So we're going to kind of sort of treat it like dry fire. We're going to keep the safety rules intact. Or we're just going to point at the middle of this piece of paper. And I want you to press that trigger without that front sight moving. And guess what it hit? Middle
Yeah.
of the damn paper. I'm like,
Nice.
holy crap, let's do this again. But like, and let's do this again. And like, this is how we get that repetitive practice in. And then like, when the light bulbs go off, that's actually my favorite moment because they're just like, Yeah, I was being a girl. Yeah, yeah. Let's not do that. And then,
Let's not do that.
but it's literally just breaking down, the concept, and also breaking down the fundamentals of the concept, and just like not overthinking. Like I even tell them, I'm like, you can be a girl about certain things, just do not be a girl about this.
Right?
You don't
Yeah.
have to be. You're burning way too many more calories on something that doesn't require it at all. So don't make it hard on yourself.
I
Like,
love it.
don't.
And this
So
is
even
why you always have you should be dry firing in your stories.
yes, just a constant reminder. And I oh my a lot of followers love that, and it started because of like we already this is going to be for the conspiracy theorist side episode
Yes.
later, because we live in a two-tier justice system, and I just want to let y'all know we may have to basically turn into the new forefather, founding father. So we need to basically just dry fire,
Stay
just dry
prepared.
fire.
That's all.
Yeah,
That's all we're
yeah,
saying. Stay
yeah,
prepared.
exactly. Like that reminder, and I love when people are like, they respond. They're like, "Damn, you bust me. Okay, I'm gonna go dry fire. Cool, thank you, man. Like, I appreciate it."
I
Like,
love it. I love it. Crack me up.
yeah,
And just on a little side note, every time I see one that's like over a certain area, I'm like, how'd you know we were going to look there? You knew we were
I
going to
just
look there. So I'm just
okay.
reminding you, you should be dry firing. It
All right.
cracks me up every time.
My entire adult life, I've literally been studying the behavior of people, mainly criminals, but people, right?
Yeah.
I already know like what everybody's going to immediately look at. So that's why I was like, let me just put that there.
We're just
So
going to, yeah. You know
we
you're
just make
looking.
it do it.
That's great.
Oh my god.
Well, I want to like kind of switch gears just a little bit because I know you went to Thailand recently.
Yes.
Tell
Mm-hmm.
me about that. I've never been to Thailand. How awesome. And you went with the USA team. Woo!
Yes. Thailand was wild. So this would have been that was my second time overseas. First time was France in
Ooh,
2018.
before
My
things went
team,
crazy.
there's so many different teams on the USA team. So we have Team USA, and then we have our division teams. So
You
my
were
division,
the ladies modified, if I remember
yes,
correctly.
we need to
Nice.
change that name to make
I
us
was
sound
like,
like a whole.
what does that even mean? I was like, does that mean we're old? Because I'm only 42. You can't be that
I
much
know.
older than me. What the? What is that?
So okay, so overseas, they have names for different divisions, and the divisions are based off of the equipment of the gun that you're shooting. So ladies modified, or just modified period, pretty much meant that we can run optics, compensators, but it had to be a tube magazine on our guns, and it had to be no longer than 51 and a half inches overall length.
Okay.
And it had to fit in a box.
Hmm.
So that was what modified is. And I'm not a fan of the name because it makes it sound like a whole bunch of trannies, but I'm just like,
I wasn't going that far. I just thought maybe they were
that's what it
pretending we
sounds
were
like.
old, but you
Modified,
know.
ladies modified, or something like the ladies anymore. Like, oh, great, but whatever. But that game started overseas, started in like Europe, Thailand. So that's what IPSC. That was the name they came up with, and I'm just like, okay, all right, I'll play y'all game. So, but the Thailand trip was same thing was for the Shotgun World Shoot, and I was actually super happy to be selected to represent the United States again,
Yeah.
and my division team, we fell a little bit short. We finished fourth. We missed third by like 3.9%.
Oh man.
It was a slaughter. I think I could mentally handle it a little bit better, but I was just like, bro, like what could we done differently? Like, hold up, timeout. We need to figure this out. So, but the trip itself, I work graveyards, so like acclimating to the other side of the world, which is 14 hours ahead. Like my sleep schedule was great. Like I didn't have any issues. My teammates are up at like dark 30 every day because they work day people hours. And I'm like fine. So we decided to go out a whole week early before the competition, and so they can get acclimated. So we're like, hey, let's do all the touristy stuff now,
Hmm.
and then focus on competition. And then we had a couple of days afterwards to do more touristy stuff. So the competition aspect of it was really good, and a lot of people think Americans are kind of bullies. We kind of are, like real talk, we kind of are. rightfully so. But these other countries like that, they have super strict gun laws.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can only own certain guns, and that's why there's all the different divisions. Is to actually try to get more and more countries to participate in the world shoot, which is still an Olympics of practical shooting.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like countries where they got to sell their firstborn just to get a gun, type of thing. And it's like that old, I don't know if it was Bruce Lee or I'm trying to think whoever made this quote that was like, "Do not fear the man that knows 10,000 kicks. Fear the man that has done one kick 10,000 times."
Yeah.
So like the competition over there was actually pretty damn good. So really good.
Yep.
So like, but there are some perks. I mean, we had our strengths and weaknesses. One of our strengths of the shotgun team is that since we're mainly uh, mostly comprised of three gunners, I would say we're like 90. I would say 95% three gunners out of the 40 of us that went over there. We excelled on any stages that was super tight maneuvering because we have to do that with all long guns, both shotgun and rifle here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
Anything where we had to go prone with a long gun or with shotgun, we did great because we always got to go prone with rifle, sometimes, or shotgun here and there. And we excel at those, but some of the spots that we didn't excel at were like a lot of different props.
Okay.
A lot of high round stages with slugs. Like a lot of the matches here in the United States, we'll have a match where there's probably going to be about maybe 3 to 4 slug targets. There was one stage we had like 16, actually more than that. I would say about 16 to 24 slugs, and that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a lot. Like we've learned a lot about our barrels, different mechanics and things like that happen to our guns when they start to heat up.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, we definitely, as a team, as a whole United States team, we definitely held our own.
Awesome.
So, but other Thailand stuff, all the touristy stuff, super fun, super cheap, totally great. Like, so I was posting all those pictures and video. Like, my best friend, who's also on the team, Cindy Coker. We're on the beach. She got like an hour-long back massage. I got a pedicure. We both had 2 beers, and it cost us like $21. Like,
whoa! Okay.
Like, okay, cool. Like fresh coconuts were like.
We do this every day.
Huh?
I was like, we can do this every day.
Oh my god, we were on that beach like almost every day. We were like we had fresh coconuts almost every day. Like a fresh coconut over there was like 25 baht, which is like 30 cents, almost about 50 cents. Because they're like coconut trees everywhere, so it's not like here. Everything is imported.
Mm-hmm.
Or like grocery store coconut is like $4, and it's like nowhere near as fresh as straight off the beach, and you had some dude with a machete hack it open. Like
there you go.
But it was definitely pretty cool. Would love to do that again. Probably, I want to do it again without guns because that was a whole hassle in itself. But
I bet
other than that, it was good.
Going through security and stuff at the airport, or like
just all the permits because all
beforehand.
Super related. So we had to get permits. We had to pay retarded amount of shipping and taxes on our ammo.
Oh wow!
Like getting over there, and also if you declared ammo coming back. I'm just saying. But it was just a whole heavily regulated stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, everything else was actually pretty cool. I'm actually wearing. It's funny you brought that up. I'm actually wearing these pants that I picked up for they were like 100 baht, so they were like $3, and they were like some of the best like little. Here.
Give us a model session. There you go. Oh yeah, there you go.
Cotton pants. I was like, heck yeah, put these on. So
I will wear those. There you go.
Yeah, I gave these as gifts. I was like, this is cool. So,
I mean, that sounds like absolutely amazing experience. I really love it. I remember you saying something about humidity and how it was acting, but you had a bag that was hooking you up.
Yes. So Bone Dry. Bone Dry, this company, they're like, hey, a lot of people deal with moisture on their guns. There has to be a way for us to actually take moisture away from your guns.
Mm-hmm.
So they created a rifle bag. They also have some pistol bags, electronic bags.
Oh,
They even got a
nice.
tool bag that they made, and this all has built-in desiccant. So like,
Sweet.
I was super freaking excited to partner with them on that because I was just like,
Very cool.
I am not trying to deal with rust on my gun, especially overseas. Like, and I don't even know what resources are going to be available to me to like
Mm-hmm.
possibly get rust off my gun. So the
Mm-hmm.
best way to deal with rust is prevention. So that's why I called them up. I was like, "Yo, it checks out. Me and this team need a bag. We need bags.
We need bags.
We
Hook us
need
up.
bags." The humidity over there is equivalent to like Texas in like August.
Oh
Like
gosh. Yeah.
most, like it's pretty bad.
I have
So the humidity,
experienced this. Horrible.
yeah,
Like you
horrible.
need a shower as soon
Absolutely.
as you walk outside. You're like, ah.
Yeah, you never dry. Yeah. Like, but the cool thing about shooting in Texas is that like there was the Italian team. There were the Italian women's team. They're like, I don't know, it's hot, like in their broken English, and I'm just like, yeah, I kind of lived there just a little bit, just a little bit. Same thing. Like,
It'll be
I don't know
fine.
what else to tell you.
Wear a tank top. Drink water. It'll be
Drink
okay.
water. I got some liquid IV. You want to try that?
Right?
You just gotta stay hydrated because other than that, you're gonna suck. And like, and I've always wanted to like, if we're competing against each other, I want you to be at your best, so I'm at my best. So if it,
Yeah.
win or lose, it actually feels good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I won because somebody passed out due to dehydration. I'm like, no, here, drink this because I want a real freaking fight. Like,
Come
let's
back to
go.
life. Let's do this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go. Stay hydrated. Like, come on, ladies. Like,
Crack me up.
but it was Bone Dry was definitely pretty solid on that. I actually do have one of their tool bags too that I'll be doing a little bit more Bronco and overland, content soon. So right now my Bronco's in the shop
Awesome.
getting my engine kind of rebuilt a little bit. So
All right.
super excited
Bronco
about
girl,
that.
huh? Very cool. Do you have like a
Yeah.
classic one or is it one of these newfangled ones with the powder paint
No, the new
coating?
ones are soft. The new ones are way too soft. I have a '95 OJ Simpson white Bronco. So
Yes.
black body, everything. So
Nice.
I love that truck. It's so cool. My license plate on it says maybe OJ, so everybody
Oh
knows.
my
Like,
god.
really,
So when I come to Phoenix, I'll be able to find you by your
no,
license plate.
a good dozen. I would say a good dozen that body style, which is what we call fifth gen Broncos, but it's mainly between 1980 to 96. That
Okay.
style. There's about a dozen of them that are white, and they all have OJ themed license plates, which I think is pretty cool. So
Crack me up.
I was like, we need to have a club. We need to be a gang or something. Like,
I'm saying you practically are already. Y'all just need to get together and just line up. We'll take a photo and it's done. Done
we need to
deal.
do this. We need to do this. So any other classic Bronco owners,
Right.
white Broncos, let me know. Let's link up. Let's do this. So,
Crack me up. All right. I got a couple of rapid fire questions for you if you're
all
ready,
right.
my dear. All right.
Yeah.
Some of these I'm going to cut out because you've already given me so
Ask
very
them.
much.
Oh,
All right. So, how do you stay balanced training and competing and working a graveyard shift with police?
oof. Caffeine. Yeah.
Caffeine.
Caffeine.
Well, all
Dude,
right.
if it wasn't for coffee, pre-workout, and Uncrustables, like I don't even think
Did you say Uncrustables? Okay, we're gonna have a
Uncrustables.
whole episode on nutrition now. I feel it. It's coming. She said Uncrustables. Oh my goodness. All right, that it's okay. We'll work on that.
I
We'll
actually
work on that.
posted a picture. I literally posted a picture over while we were over in Thailand because I was so Uncrustables. Actually, they're quite unhealthy, but they didn't have anything in Thailand, so we were over there with old school peanut butter jelly sandwiches. Like it's Uncrustable, but all right, it'll do. Like,
It'll work. It'll work.
no, y'all need to sell these in freaking Thailand. I'm just throwing it out there. So,
Crack me up. All right. So, have you had any setbacks or disappointments in competition, and how do you handle those?
ooh, if I had a couple, I mean, they're inevitable. They're going to happen. So one thing that I actually tell newer shooters, newer competitors too, especially at a lot of the women's matches that I teach at. is that it's really easy for us to get hung up on the bad stuff. So everybody gets like a match booklet. I don't even have one on my table here. A match booklet would have like all the stages in it, sponsors. Which if it wasn't for sponsors, we wouldn't have this great of a sport, anyways.
Yeah.
But I'm like, hey, write down 3 things that you did great
Hmm.
and 3 things you need to work on. So I'll fall back to that. Like, okay, my shotgun loads are great. My rifle shots are on point. Pistol is good. All right, I need to work more um, on movement.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, like a lot of footwork stuff like that. I may need to work on. It could have been an equipment failure. Okay, I need to address that as soon as I get home. So I write all that stuff down and just know that, like, okay, the next one it's not going to happen, or
Yeah.
the next one I'll be improved. So uh, being honest with yourself is going to allow you to have that growth, and that's
Mm-hmm.
one thing that I've seen some shooters get like super racked up in their heads about. I'm like, bro, it's okay, it is all right,
There's always next
it's,
time.
it's okay. That's what's going to happen tomorrow. Another day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Another
Yeah.
opportunity to improve. So.
All good. All good. All right.
Mhm.
What is your ultimate goal in competitive shooting? Is there like a top of the top? I know nothing.
Oof. Like it's totally different. Like with me, like I like the sport and I like growing the sport too. I like teaching and getting more and more people in. And I actually had a couple of ladies. This was actually at Fall Fest. Actually ran by their own gun. They're like, Ursula, why you do this? I'm like, real talk. I am selfish. I am super selfish. And they're like, well, why? I'm like, I want more girls to compete against. So therefore, why not teach more girls to be competitive so we can compete against each other? I'm like, I'm completely selfish. Like,
I feel like that's
absolutely
totally not selfish at all. I just think that's awesome.
when I first came in, like a lot of 3 gun matches I shot, there would be like a women's division. There would be like 8 of us, 7, 8 of us.
Oh wow.
Now, 8 years later, good lord, it's been that long. 8 years later, now we have like full woman matches with like 120, competitors.
That's
So
awesome.
I'm like, dude, this is great. This is so awesome. We need more. Like,
Yes.
we definitely need
We
more. So
definitely need
that's
more.
why teach as much as I do, because like I want more females to compete. On the actual, range side of things, my goal has been the Olympics. So, um, one thing that happened with Thailand, which is pretty cool, IPSC announced that they're going to have the shotgun world shoot as like kind of like an expedition type sport for the 2028 Olympics in LA.
Ooh.
So, oh my God. So, the next shotgun world shoot is going to be in Greece. And I don't know why. I got this gut feeling
You're going to
that
Greece, baby. Yes.
huh? Yeah,
You're
regardless of what
going.
happens. So what I got this gut feeling that whoever wins Greece are going to be automatically slotted for the shotgun match at the Olympics. So I'm like, dude, that is better than the Olympics versus like trap and skeet, which I kind of find boring. It's actually very competitive. It just mentally, I need to run around with a gun. I can't just stand still in a vest. I've never owned a vest in my life, but I got to stand there and shoot clays. I'm like, or I can go
Or
around and shoot all the things,
yes.
you know. But
That's
I think
awesome.
that would be really awesome if I could pull
I've
that off.
never wanted to go to the Olympics, but I might have to if that happens, girl, I might have to come and kick it and be like, that's my girl over there.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
to do that. But I know that I actually start looking at timelines because, like, of course, first everything starts as a thought, then it turns into a plan, and then it's execution. So
Yes.
um, I know that I retired from law enforcement at the end of next year, so I got like a full like year to train for Greece,
Ooh.
and also, if I win Greece, that'd be great, and then basically the Olympics after that.
So
So
you're
that's
going
my
full time. Yes, that's awesome. I'm so
yeah.
excited for you.
Dude, that'd be fun. Like like I so want to do that.
Oh my
So
gosh, that's going to be amazing. Well, I mean, you kind of answered a couple of my other ones here already. So I was going to say, How do you manage nerves before a big competition? That's another one.
Man, you know what's funny? I've been competing for like 8 years, and I still have like what we call first stage jitters. So
Yeah.
like, so we have this thing called "Send It with Jesus," and it's just like, yo, wherever happens, happens. You know,
Yes.
like I can prepare so much, but if there's something that's not there, I'm gonna figure it out and move on.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and then it's more so like not letting what happened on one stage affect the next stage and the next stage and the next stage. So once I'm done with a stage, let's just say I have a bad stage, I literally give myself 5 minutes. And it's
Nice.
something I actually started on the law enforcement side. If something stupid happens, you know, everybody has a work husband, work wife, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, hey, look, I need you to time me. They're like, why? Well, 5 minutes. They're like, oh, bet. All right, cool. So they for 5 minutes. And like, and then you know it's not going to matter in 5 years. So that's why we have the 5 minute rule, and
I
we
love
will
that.
go. And like, it's so funny, like until you see like, the faster we're going, we're trying to take that whole 5 minutes so it does not bother us later. And I do the same thing when it comes out of matches.
I love
So
it.
I'm
That's
just like,
awesome.
okay, cool. Got my 5 minutes out, cool, walk it off. All right, I need to prepare for the next stage.
Yes, I love that. So, my next one is what's your message to young girls who are either dreaming of becoming competitive shooters or going into law enforcement, which I don't know if you are familiar with this idea, but I was told, that's not really it's not a job for girls, not a job for women, blah, blah, blah. Like, but maybe people are dreaming about that. So, what would you
Yeah.
say?
Um, my because it's rapid fire. First thing that comes to mind is literally don't be a bitch. Because like first of
Yes!
all, you're never gonna be ready, so you might as well do it. You're never gonna be ready.
That's
And
life.
as for the law enforcement aspect, like I've my entire life has been about doing things that other people can't do or won't do. So why I'm gonna start now to be like, oh, somebody said I can't do something. I'm like, first of all, I'm American. I can do whatever I want.
Thank you.
So pretty much, I'm pretty sure I can go into law enforcement. Law enforcement is tricky because you do have to find an agency that match your personality, uh, your values, things like that. So I'm happy to be with an agency that is, pro 2A,
Mm-hmm.
not doing, they didn't do anything stupid during COVID,
Thank you.
which was a hot
Oof.
mess of
Right,
time.
yeah.
And they are super supportive of their people, so like, and that was actually, my second agency, which I will be retiring from. Like, they've been treating me really well since I've been there. So I'm like, all right, cool. But like, yeah, literally find that agency and just do it. Because like law enforcement is going to be one of those careers that's always going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's
they
always
always
going
need
to be
shit.
needed, always necessary.
Always, always going to be there. Like, especially right now where there's not a lot of jobs that actually have pensions,
Mm-hmm.
or they have like a 401k or A and it's kind of sketch. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
saying, there's someone out there you can find an agency with a pension, definitely do it. That's just more of a financial thing.
Yeah.
But there's been times where like, it would, a situation happened. It was much better that a female was there. Like, hey, look, I know you're overthinking this, but check this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't do that. So we're just going to have a conversation. We're just going to move this party somewhere else. But it's one of those things where it's like, yes, you are valued, you are needed. If you want to get in law enforcement, do it.
Yes.
Just find the right agency, do ride-alongs, and ride-alongs are free.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people ride-alongs is the best way to speed data agency.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've been on multiple ride-alongs with different agencies, where it's like I like you, you're cool, but I've started seeing some questionable stuff, so y'all not getting my application.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can vibe with that. I don't know. That doesn't represent me. So let me look elsewhere, because there are tens of thousands of agencies nationwide. You can find one that fits you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Awesome.
just mhm.
Well, that's pretty amazing. I think you're swell, Miss Ursula. I,
Another in the guns. I was like, oh
dude,
my god, this is this.
I was like, this is
Holy
meant to be.
like, this is so cool. Oh my god.
Can I ask
And
you
that's
what your middle name is? I'm curious. Just out of, if you
Marissa.
haven't, Marissa. Okay, well, okay, we aren't
Love.
matched completely, but my dad's name is William. So I mean,
That is awesome.
I was
That is
like,
so good.
we were meant to meet each other. This is a whole thing. I was like, oh man, and she's cool too. No, seriously, it's really a pleasure actually meeting you. We are going to meet in person someday, very soon. I don't know when
Yes.
exactly, but
And you know what's funny? If you want, we can figure out uh, where you live because we already know you're on a totally different time zone than I am. Like we found that out the
we
hard way.
figured that out. Depending on the time of year.
Yeah, I'm like, oh Jesus! I'm like, you actually do that little time zone thingy. Yeah, yeah, no, we don't do that here in Arizona. Um, find out exactly where you live. See if I can find a local match, and I have no problem taking you to your first competition, getting you squared away for that, and literally walk you through. Like I've done the same thing with a buddy of mine in Cali. She's all like, I've never done a competition. I'm like, well, it's one way to find out. Let's do it. Let's
Let's
go.
do it. Well,
Uh,
I'm outside of Boise, so you know.
okay, we can probably match.
we're gonna figure that out. Yes, and there's a chapter of Girl and a Gun here in Meridian, so
That is awesome. Yes.
I'll have to dip my toe in definitely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, so last little bit here. I'm really big on bringing younger women, like my daughter's 13, into the sport and just how do you say introducing them and having them experience and get exposed to. What advice would you have for a younger human?
I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find other word than or other term than
You
don't be a
can't
bitch.
just say "don't be a bitch" to a 13-year-old, Ursula.
But if you, hey, let's try it, and if you don't like it, that's okay.
Do
Like I don't
you?
like kale. I've been plant based for years. I hate kale, and I still try it from time to time. It tastes like
Why?
vegan.
Oh,
I like the guy that discovered kale. I'm like, why were you out there eating weird leaves in the
you
first
know it
place?
used to be the stuff on the buffet. It wasn't always
Right?
some cool thing. They just shoved it
Yeah, like
around stuff.
kale sucks. Kale is gross. I'm just putting it out there. I know I got a couple of my vegan buddies gonna be like, "What? I love kale. You like kale. I don't like kale, and I still try it from time to time just to make sure I don't like it."
I'd rather
But
drink asparagus raw. I'm sorry. No.
right, it's
I won't be doing that.
so gross. But one of the things that I like doing with kids to actually get them in competition is that 22s are perfect.
Yes.
And then there's a competition called Still Challenge. And what
Oh.
Still Challenge is, you literally stand still in a box and you shoot the same 5 targets 5 times. And you can do it with 22s. It was
Ooh.
literally designed for kids. We have a running joke, but also designed for old people with blown out knees. But it's you hate floods. I'm like, no, just saying. But Still Challenge was literally designed for kids, where you stand in a box and you shoot 5 targets, and you can do it with 22s. It's super cheap, super fun. The
Yeah.
whole family can compete. The whole
Yeah.
family can sign up together. And there's
Mm-hmm.
actually I've seen awards for entire families that are shooting. So like if you have 2 parents and a kid,
Mm-hmm.
you're all up. Y'all are literally competing against other families. So I'm like, that is actually pretty freaking cool.
Sounds very
So,
fun.
yeah. And for other competitive shooters, like myself, we'll dabble in different disciplines because that's what Still Challenge is discipline. 3 guns is discipline. USPSA, which is pistol for the most part, that's a discipline. Sporting clays, discipline. So we'll dabble in different disciplines to get better at our main one. So the cool
Awesome.
thing with Still Challenge, it teaches you transitions, as in like target
Oh,
transitions,
okay.
because there is a way that you have to shoot these targets, and then you have your red stop plate or whatever the last plate that you have to engage. But it gives you opportunity to kind of think like, okay, what's going to be the more efficient way for me to do this?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll play around the Still Challenge, like it's fun. We'll do IDPA because it's fun, and we talk a lot of smack about IDPA. But it's got to that point where it's like, if we're going to be talking smack, we need to actually do it, and then we can talk.
And then you can talk more.
Let's do it. Like, I'm not a huge fan of USPSA, but it's the way that I get the most amount of pistol practice in.
Nice.
So, like, I don't really care about my classification USPSA. I just like the fact that it allows me to get so much pistol practice for 3 gun. Here in Arizona, like I said, we have matches literally every day except for Mondays. And I can go do an all rifle match. I can do sporting clays, Trappist heat, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's also tactical shotgun matches that I can do. Anything for me to get better at 3 gun, I'm down for it, and I'm willing to try it.
I
But
love
for
it.
kids, get them in, start them with Still Challenge. That is going to be the easiest, the cheapest, and the most fun. And it's something that you can actually they can practice.
Dude, I mean, we have a public range out here in Idaho, and I was like, we could set that up. That'd be pretty easy. 5 targets. Yeah, we can make that happen. You already got the wheels turning. That's great.
You don't really need much for Still Challenge.
No.
You absolutely don't. So that is probably something you may want to also look into, especially for kids. So
yeah. Well,
it's probably already set up. You just have to ask these ranges.
I know. I just got to go find somewhere. Well, this one, there's like nobody. I mean, the people that are shooting are there, but there's not like it's like shoot at your own risk. It's just an area where you can go.
Okay.
But I'm sure there are other things. I mean, it's Idaho, so.
Yeah, we have some of those little desert spots where everybody got the desert. But if you want a competition, it's literally at one outdoor ranges or one indoor ranges.
Mm-hmm.
So
awesome. Well, Ursula, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it and sharing your journey. And I know we're going to have to chat again because we are on the same page on so many different topics. So,
I know.
Yeah,
so awesome.
This has been great. Is there any last words you would like to leave us with?
No, just get out there. Literally getting out there is half the battle.
Get out there and don't be a bitch.
Literally. Absolutely. And
what are about to bleep words out?
Everybody's afraid to suck. I'm like, everybody sucks when they first get there because you don't know. So how else are you going to figure it out unless you get there?
That fear of failure is a killer, man. I'm telling you.
That killed.
Fail forward.
Fear. Huh?
Fail forward.
Yeah. So that fear I can't talk. That fear kills so many dreams. And so many possibilities because everybody's afraid to fail. I'm like, you're gonna fail. You're gonna suck. Once you know you're gonna suck, then it's gonna make everything else easier because you can go out there and be like, hey, I suck. Okay, cool. Now I can do something about it.
I love it.
So I'm just saying, just get out there. Yep.
Is it weird if we both say bye, Ursula, at the same time?
I know we should do it just because, right?
All right. Bye, Ursula.
Bye, Ursula.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Liberty Lipstick and Lead. I appreciate each and every one of you. You can find my amazing guest, Ursula Williams, on Instagram at ursula.308_. Please remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you had a good time and found some value, please leave us a 5-star review if you enjoyed today's content or just want to share your feedback. Don't forget to share this episode to your social media stories, and I will do my very best to respond to each and every one. I will be featuring a review with each new episode, and you could be our next listener of the week. Until next time, stay empowered and stay safe.